Well, hello there. Welcome once more to Contour's Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I would like to say a very warm welcome to you, dear friends. It is another cook with me, and today I'm making some tatale and bambara beans. I already have a recipe here, but I cook the beans very different. The tatale is the same. So I am sharing with you the recipe for bambara beans the way I was taught growing up. So I have my bambara beans here, which we all know as a bean, but actually it is a groundnut. And I'm going to be boiling about 2.5 cups of that. So I have that in my bowl here. I am trying to just go through it to see, pick out what is not good. I have some with holes. I have some few foreign materials in here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to pick everything out. You can also put it on the flat tray, which will make it easier. But I just wanted to just save myself a little work. So in the bowl, they are big enough that you can pick out everything easily. So now that I've picked out all my foreign objects, I am rinsing it off and then we will cook this. Today I'm not going to be soaking it, but of course you can go ahead and soak it overnight. I really didn't make plans for that, so I'm going to be using my pressure cooker to cook this. So I've washed my beans off or rinsed it about 4 times. It is thoroughly washed now. I'm going to go ahead and transfer it into my pot. This is the pot that goes inside my instant pot, and that is what I'm going to be cooking the beans in. So I'm going to add 4 cups of water to this. Insert it into my pot and I'm going to bring it to a boil. You want to seal it so it doesn't vent, so it cooks with all the pressure. And now I'm going to set my instant pot to 45 minutes. So there we go. Now that our beans is cooking, let's focus on our plantains. So I have 7 overripe plantains here, or supposedly overripe, because as you can see, it's not that soft. It looks so dark on the outside. I was like, if I'm not going to use it today, I might as well end up throwing them out. But look, it was nowhere near going bad. Like, it is still quite hard, not overly soft, not the one that like oozing water. Anyway, so they were washed. I have peeled them, and now I'm using my potato masher to try to mash it up. And this was not easy because it's still a little bit hard on the inside. I wasn't feeling well on this day. I was feeling so weak. I almost just put them in the blender. So you see me here using both hands. I was just trying to just endure and get it done, and I did get it done. But of course you can use your blender, and if I was going to use a blender, I would have used my Ninja because it doesn't really go very smooth, so that would have been perfect. Delicious, yeah, yeah. Ooh, delicious, delicious, yeah, yeah. Ooh, delicious, delicious, ooh, delicious, delicious, yeah, yeah. Ooh, delicious. You want to have a little lump in it. That's why I really didn't want to use the blender. You can of course also use your asanka or earthenware pot, and that would be good also. So my plantains are done being mashed. I've set it aside, and I'm going to soak some stockfish. This is going to go in the beans. I'm going to also add some momone, but this is going to bring a lot of flavor to it. And if you have some herrings, you can of course use some herrings as well. So I've set my plantains aside at this point, and now I am going to focus on the vegetables. So I have my ginger here. I have left the skin on, but it's washed. I'm going to add my 2 peppers. Yes, we like this very spicy. I know for sure my kids are not going to eat this, so we're going all the way out on this recipe. I've added all the peppers that I think I need. I have some shallots peeled and I'm chopping them. So I'm going to blend this, everything in the blender. I'm going to split some for the beans and some for the tatale when it's done. So set that aside, and I'm just going to chop the 3 other shallots that I have left, and that is what is going to go in the palm oil to fry to start the stew. And we have our contestant number 1. Yes, Sister Momone is sitting pretty. You know, she believes herself. She's like, I'll grow free me. Anyway, I'm also cutting up my tomatoes. I have 2 plum tomatoes. I'm going to leave the seeds in. I just chop it up, set it aside, and now I'm going to blend my spices. So that's my ginger, pepper, and onions. It's blended now. I'm going to split it. So I'm going to put about a third, just a little bit over a third here in my plantains. So you want to split it according to how hot you want the tatale to be. So, you know, it is good here. About a third of the contents of the blender is in here now. I am mixing it, and I'm also going to be adding some flour in as well. And the flour is what is going to help you, your plantains to fry beautifully. It's going to help the tatale not to just fall apart. Without it, it would fall apart. Some people use corn flour. You can use corn flour. You can use coconte or cassava flour as well. The seller sometimes would use coconte, but I'm using just regular all-purpose flour. I just added some salt. That is always going to be according to your taste, but you don't want to overdo it because you want to taste the sweetness of your tatale. And now that it's all mixed up, I'm going to start adding my flour to this gradually. So this cup here in my hand is a cup of flour. So the container holds a cup of flour, but I'm going to add in gradually until I know exactly how much I need, and that will be it. So just fold it in like I'm doing. And obviously I need a little bit more, so I'm going to add a little bit more. So actually I ended up using 3/4 cup or 3/4 cup of my flour, and the rest I just set aside. So definitely use some coconte or cassava flour in here in place of the regular flour if you are trying to make this a gluten-free version. So I've achieved my desired consistency. It is not very smooth. It has a few tiny lumps in here. It is very well spiced, very spicy, very well seasoned. The salt is perfect. And at this point, you can see when I scoop it, it comes off the spoon. It doesn't just easily glide up, and it doesn't stick either. So it's just a perfect balance in texture. I've added the rest of my tomatoes here in the blender. So it has gone in with the blended pepper, ginger, and onion. And I'm going to blend that so we can start making our bean stew as well. Now that our ingredients are all blended, let's start making our stew. I have my pot here. To it, I'm going to be adding my palm oil. This is actually palm oil that I scooped from the palm nut soup that I made in the most recent video. And yeah, my pot was very hot, so it is splattering a little bit. And normally, if you scoop this kind of palm oil, you would want to just let it cook on the stove top, just try to fry it a little bit to get rid of all the moisture, and that has just happened now. That is what caused all the splashing, because the pot was already heated when I put it in. I've added in here my shallots, the 2 shallots that I sliced, and I've also added in here my momone. And that is opaa momone. That is the real deal. Like the momone that when my mom sends you to go and buy momone, of course, you better come home with opaa momone and nothing else. So it is falling apart. As you can see, it's almost disintegrated already. It's all gone, dissolved, and that's how you want it to be. So it infuses all the fragrance and flavor and aroma and everything else that momone brings to the table in this oil, and of course the stew when it is done. So It is perfect now. Our onion is sweating. I'm not going to let it cook all the way until it caramelizes. I'm going to just add in here my tomatoes and spice blend to cook. So in here it comes. I just rinsed off the blender a little bit, added that in here as well. And now I'm just going to stir it and let it sit and cook, simmer down. So our blended ingredients have cooked in here for about 3 minutes. I'm going to be adding my stockfish at this point. It is very dry, or it comes very dry. That is why I soaked it in the water to rehydrate it a little bit. And I want it to go in as early as possible because this is just a little bit of stew. Once it cooks all the way down, it's not going to do it any good when I put the stockfish in, because then it can't absorb any that much of liquid in the stew. So it's in here now, and this way it is going to soften up and of course give all that flavor that it gives to our stew. I'm going to cover it and let it cook on very low heat, and at this point our beans is cooked. It is beeping and it's time for me to just let it vent. I'm going to do a manual release instead of waiting for it to release the pressure on its own. That will take quite a while. And as you can see, stew is almost cooked and ready for the beans. So when you do this, be careful. As you saw, I stood away from it and I used a wooden spoon to just release the pressure, because that is very, very hot air coming out, and you can injure yourself if you're not careful. So please, 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 please be careful. And as you can see, the beans is perfect. I tested it. It is just falling off, very soft. It's not hard on the inside like typically how it would be. So yes, if you have to make your Bambara beans and you are hard pressed for time, you didn't plan ahead, you can always use your pressure cooker if you have one. And I'm just mashing a little bit of the beans, so you have that creamy, apple boy kind of vibe. And yes, I have to say once more that I am using palm oil. The other kind, it would be done, we just add some pepper and maybe a little bit of coconut oil, but this is how I grew up making it. I only learned to make the one that I made in my previous video without palm oil, I think actually when I was about 4 years ago. Yeah, maybe 5 years ago. Actually, yeah, I was grown up, married, a mom and everything. My friend came to visit me and she wanted me to make it that way. And I tried it. I liked it. But of course, I like that momone factor and I like that palm oil. So yeah, I thought to share this with you as well. I have added 2 tablespoons of shrimp powder in here. I've added some salt as well. And stew is pretty much all done. You see the oil is coming back on the surface, that little palm oil that I used, and it is smelling amazing, amazing. My son came downstairs. I heard him asking as I was editing, actually, because I was so much into the video I didn't even hear, but he asked his sister, EG, that's how he calls Ivana. EG, what that smell? That is him saying, what is that smell? Yeah, but that smell is what brings out all that goodness in this boy or Bambara beans. So I've added in here my beans now, some of it mashed, very creamy as you can see. I'm mixing it up, letting it go, and look at how perfect it is. This smells amazing. It tastes so good already. And at this point, I'm just going to let it cook for about an extra 10 minutes, just on simmering. Just let it simmer, and that way the beans will soak up all the flavors of the stew and it will be perfect. So whilst that is going on, we are going to start frying our tatale. In that, I'm going to be using some palm oil, so just a little bit. I am just trying to get that in here. And then we'll be scooping the mixture in here as well to fry. This is like pancakes or fritters. So I'm using a serving spoon to do this, and just scoop some on here. When I use this pan, I always can just fit 3 of them in here. So 3 scoops, and then we'll let this cook. So our tatale has cooked for about 2 to 3 minutes. and I'm going to flip it so the side facing up will get a chance to cook as well. Meanwhile, our beans has cooked for about that 10 minutes. As you can see, it has thickened up just a little bit. It is perfect at this point, and I'm just going to turn off the heat, cover it, and wait until the plantains are all fried, or the tatale, the pancakes, whatever you want to call it, fritters. Yeah, I don't know. People say it's not fritters, others say it is fritters, some say it's pancakes, some say it's not. But whatever it is, I just want to eat my tatale. And I remember in the other video I actually posted, and I said egbe tatale. That's how I've always been singing it. Apparently it is ebe, which somebody explained to me that it means abing, it is ready. So ebe tatale, ramobaye tatale, ebe tatale. Asante for no mama nkoka egbe tatale bia o baby o. Maka achom you see ye. So anyway, tatale is perfectly cooked now. As you can see, it is just like a pancake. You use very little oil to fry it. I have flipped it on this other side again, yeah, just so I wanted to sit on the plate with the most beautiful side. The first time I almost burned that side, so this is perfect. And I'm bringing it out now onto my plate, and then we'll proceed to fry the rest of the batch, and then we can sit and eat. So oil goes in here, 3 more scoops come in after that, and we continue until everything is done. And just like that, food is ready. It's all fried, and it is time for us to enjoy this. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. If this is your first time here, my name is Kwanchua, and making simple, replicable family meals is my passion. And I hope this makes you want to subscribe and join the KK fam. Thank you so much, fam, for all your love and support. Please like and share this video. Tell your friends to come and join us. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy. Delicious.